Okay, now after the arrival of the grandson, we said that she spent little time with the sparrows, or rather, little more time with the sparrows, feeding them with the frivolous rebukes. She was happy for the arrival of the grandson. At the same time, she was more happy to feed the sparrows because over the years she had developed that kind of relationship with the sparrows. Even the sparrows falls in the category of animals, they share a kind of common understanding between them. In the evening, a change came over her. So the grandson arrived, met grandson in the railway station. Catching hold of the grandson, the grandmother walked to the house. After reaching the home, she just left him in the house to just adjust himself or to wash himself and get ready for other activities. Grandmother went to feed the sparrows. She spent more time with the sparrows and she was talking with the sparrows also. But towards the evening, there was a change in the behavior of the grandmother. The grandmother's total behavior was changed in the evening. What was the first change? We already mentioned that after his arrival, the first change was actually she was feeding the sparrows with the frivolous rebukes and she spent more time with the sparrows. Now, the evening came, and that is the second change, or the first change in the evening was she did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. So, what is the change that came over to grandmother towards the evening? She did not pray because grandmother for the last 20 or 25 years, what Kusuman Singh has mentioned, he had association with the grandmother was always praying from early morning. When she was waking up the grandson, she started praying. Whenever she's awake, she used to pray. When she was working, spinning wheel, that time also she was praying. But this evening, she did not pray. What she did? She collected the women of the neighborhood. ലോക്കാലിറ്റിയിലുള്ള മറ്റ് സ്ത്രീകളെ കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത് അവരെല്ലാം കൂട്ടം കൂട്ടി. മീൻസ് ദ വിമൻ ഓഫ് ദ സെയിം ഏജ്, ഓൾഡ് പീപ്പിൾ ഓഫ് ദ ലൈക്ക് മൈൻഡഡ് പീപ്പിൾ. ഷീ ജസ്റ്റ് കളക്റ്റഡ് ഓൾ ഓഫ് ദം, ഗോട്ട് ആൻ ഓൾഡ് ഡ്രം, ഒരു പഴയ ഒരു ഡ്രം, ഒരു ചെണ്ട, ആൻഡ് സ്റ്റാർട്ടഡ് ടു സിംഗ്. ഷീ സ്റ്റാർട്ടഡ് സിംഗിങ് വിത്ത് ദ ഹെൽപ്പ് ഓഫ് beating on the drum. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sung of the homecoming of warriors. For several hours, it is not that half an hour or something like that. For several hours, many hours, several means many hours. എത്ര മണിക്കൂർ എന്ന് ഇവിടെ വ്യക്തമായിട്ട് പറയുന്നില്ല. Many hours she thumped എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ബീറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, അടിക്കുക. The sagging skin, sagging means loose ആണ്. Loose skin of the dilapidated drum. What is dilapidated? Broken down. പൊട്ടിപ്പൊളിഞ്ഞ എന്ന് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയും. Broken down. And sung of the homecoming of warriors. She was singing the song, the returning of the warriors from the battlefield. Imagine the warriors who have gone to the battlefield for fighting. After the victory, after winning the battle, when they come back, the family members, the people, and the king and everybody will be happy to just receive them. അപ്പോൾ അവരങ്ങനെ തിരിച്ചു വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് there are songs are there welcoming them. So one of that song was sung by the grandmother. And who is the warrior that has returned now? No other than, or none other than, Kusuvan Singh. Kusuvan Singh has been considered as a warrior. Why he is considered as a warrior? He has gone to the western country. They had a preconceived idea that Western country is not meant for people who are coming from aristocratic family. But then he went there, he fought. Fought means അവിടെ യുദ്ധത്തിൽ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുകയല്ല ചെയ്തത്. അവിടെ എന്ത് യുദ്ധമായിരുന്നു? പഠിത്തം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നോട്ട് ഫോർഗെറ്റിംഗ് ഹിസ് കൾച്ചർ, keeping up the culture and continuing his study and finishing the study, and he has returned successfully. So this song of the homecoming of warriors is actually a very suitable one on the occasion of the returning of the grandson. So what was the change that came over to grandmother towards the evening? She did not pray. She collected the women of the locality, got an old dilapidated drum, and just thumping on the sagging skin of the drum, she started singing the song along with other women of the locality. The song was the homecoming of warriors. Now, you see, tabla or any kind of drum, if that skin where you beat with the hand or the stick, if it is not tight, it does not produce good sound. അപ്പം ഗ്രാൻഡ് കയ്യിലുണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഡ്രം, ഇറ്റ് വാസ് ആൻ ഓൾഡ് ഡ്രം. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് സാഗിങ്, ലൂസായിരുന്നു, അതിൻ്റെ സ്കിന്ന് ലൂസായിരുന്നു. തബലയിലൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ടൈറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് സൈഡിൽ കട്ട വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് ടൈറ്റായിരുന്നാൽ മാത്രമേ നമുക്ക് നല്ല സൗണ്ട് കിട്ടുകയുള്ളൂ. സോ ഇറ്റ് വാസ് എ ലൂസ് വൺ ഓൺലി, ഓൾഡ് വൺ, ഡിസ്കാർഡഡ് വൺ, and she was just thumping, she was beating on it, and then along with other ladies she started singing song and dancing. You see, these Punjabis are very fun loving people. They are dedicated, hard working, at the same time they are very fun loving people. Every festival, every happy occasion they celebrate with music and dancing. In our culture also we have Onam time, there is Onam dance and other things are there, Tiruvazira dance and other thing is there. But together, but in Punjab, what is the speciality is that here, if Tiruvazira Kali, that dance is only danced by the girls, you find almost all other cultures in the northern India, both men and women join together in their cultural dances. So here anyway, she just got collected the women of the old, her locality, and they were singing the song and thumb in the skin of the sagging skin of the drum. We had pursued her to stop to avoid overstraining. So grandson says, Kuswan Singh says, we had to pursued means force, nirbandhika. We had to pursued her to stop to avoid overstraining. Overstraining means hard work, overwork. Grandmother is an old woman. If she is training herself, she will become sick. So they just compelled her, mother, don't sing more, don't dance more, you will become sick this way. They had pursued her. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. So this is again another question. What was the first time that Kuswan Singh knew that grandmother did not pray? The first time. It is after the arrival of the grandson from abroad, towards the evening, she did not pray. So that is the first time Kuswan Singh had known her that she did not pray. Otherwise, always she was engaged in prayer. The next morning, she was taken ill. So the change is taking place. Grandmother strained herself. She was asked not to strain much, but then she strained. She enjoyed herself because she knew that her what he called circle has completed. Her life circle has completed. So the next morning, because of the previous evening's training, the next morning the grandmother was taken ill. Means she became ill, means asugam pravichu. It was a mild fever and the doctor told us that it would go. It was a mild fever. Mild fever is ചെറിയ പനി. ഒരു പനിയുടെ തുടക്കമായിരുന്നു. Because normally when we get fever, we don't consider that it's a big sickness. Everybody gets fever, and if you take rest for some time, even without medicine, one becomes all right. Normal cases, if it is not complicated one. So grandmother was having a mild fever in the morning. Doctor was called to investigate, and the doctor told that it's a mild fever only, it would go. Means the fever will go. You don't have to worry. But my grandmother thought differently. When doctor said that the fever will be going and she will be all right, but grandmother was thinking differently. I would like to compare this particular sentence with a sentence which was spoken by her when grandson went abroad. When grandson was given a kiss on the forehead, grandson believed that that was perhaps going to be the last physical contact with him. But grandmother thought differently. Grandmother angane chindichilla. Grandmother knew that I am not going to die. I will live for some more time. She knew it. But this time, after the arrival of the grandson, she thought differently, means avakariyamairunnu avada maranam aduthu vannu. She told us that her end was near. She said in very clear terms to the people of the house that ഞാൻ മരിക്കാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. മൈ എൻഡ് ഈസ് നിയർ. എൻ്റെ അവസാനം അടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഞാൻ ഇനി അധികം കാലം നിങ്ങളുടെ കൂടെ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray, she was not going to waste any more time talking to us. She also told that എന്താണ് പറഞ്ഞത്? ഷീ ടോൾഡ് ദാറ്റ് ഓൺലി എ ഫ്യൂ അവേഴ്സ് ബിഫോർ ദ ക്ലോസ് ഓഫ് ദ ലാസ്റ്റ് ചാപ്റ്റർ ഓഫ് ഹർ ലൈഫ്. എന്താണ് പറഞ്ഞത്? എൻ്റെ ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെ അവസാനത്തെ ചാപ്റ്റർ ഒരു ജീവിതത്തെ ഒരു ബുക്കായിട്ട് കണക്കാക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എൻ്റെ ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെ അവസാനത്തെ ചാപ്റ്റർ ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഇനി അധികം സമയമില്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ അവസാനത്തെ ചാപ്റ്ററിൻ്റെ സമയത്ത് ഞാൻ പ്രാർത്ഥന കുറച്ചു. അതായത് ഇൻ ദ ഈവനിങ് ഷീ ഡിഡ് നോട്ട് പ്രേ, but now she has no time to waste talking to us. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? I don't have time to talk with the members of the family. I'm supposed to go back to my creator, my God, and that is why I did not pray yesterday, the last part of my life, so now I'll spend my time in talking with God. What do you mean by prayer? Actually, prayer is a communication with God. ദൈവവുമായി സംസാരിക്കുകയാണ്. അവൾ പറയാണ്, after my birth I have never spent my time without talking with God, but towards the end of my last chapter of my life, that is yesterday evening, I did not pray, so today I don't have much time. ഉടനെ തന്നെ ഞാൻ മരിക്കാൻ പോവുകയാണ്, എനിക്ക് അധികം സമയമില്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങളോട് സംസാരിച്ച് സമയം കളയാനില്ല. Therefore what I will do, I will continue to pray. This is what grandmother said. We protested when loving people of our house, our family says that I am going to die, or a sick person say that he is going to die or she is going to die. Definitely others will say no, you will not die. We protested. ഞങ്ങൾ എതിർത്ത് പറഞ്ഞു. എന്താണ് എതിർത്ത് പറഞ്ഞത്? Grandmother, you are not going to die, you will live long. But she ignored our protest. When they protested, she ignored the protest. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. What happened to grandmother? Grandmother was lying on the bed very peacefully. വളരെ സമാധാനത്തോടു കൂടി she was lying on the bed praying and telling the beads of the rosary. She was praying, even at that time the beads, ആ റോസറിയുടെ മണികൾ, മുത്തുകൾ ഓരോന്നും ഈ കൈവിരലിൽ കൂടെ മാറ്റിക്കൊണ്ടേയിരുന്നു. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. Even before we could suspect, അവർക്ക് തിരിച്ചറിയാൻ പറ്റിയില്ല. അവർ തിരിച്ചറിയാതെ തന്നെ, even before we could suspect, what happened? The grandmother died. എന്താണ് പറയുന്നത്? Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving. പ്രാർത്ഥിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അവളുടെ ചൊടികൾ ഇങ്ങനെ അനങ്ങാൻ തുടങ്ങി, മൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ തുടങ്ങി. എന്നിട്ട് എ പീസ്ഫുൾ പാലർ മീൻസ് കവറാണ്, വെയിൽ, ഒരു മൂടൽ മഞ്ഞ് മാതിരി, ഒരു പ്രസരിപ്പ് അപ്രത്യക്ഷമാവുന്നു. എ പീസ്ഫുൾ പാലർ ദ മീനിങ് ഓഫ് ദ വേർഡ് ഈസ് വെയിൽ. സ്പ്രെഡ് ഓവർ ഹർ ഫേസ്, അവിടെ മുഖത്തേക്ക് ഒരു പാലർ സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്തു. ആൻഡ് വി ന്യൂ ദാറ്റ് ഷീ വാസ് ഡെഡ് ആൻഡ് വി കെയിം ടു നോ ദാറ്റ് ഗ്രാൻഡ് മദർ വാസ് ഡെഡ്. ഗ്രാൻഡ് മരിച്ചു എന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി എന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. You see, only some venerable people, some respected people, very holy people who always pray and do good things only will be knowing that when their death is coming. We, all of us will die one day, but we do not know when we are going to die. The death comes like a thief എന്നാണ് പറയപ്പെടുന്നത്. ബട്ട് ദർ ആർ സം പീപ്പിൾ ഹു ഹാവ് എ സൈലന്റ് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ. അവർക്ക് പറയാൻ സാധിക്കുക എൻ്റെ അവസാനം അടുത്തു. And if you have seen people dying, some people experience a lot of pain at the time of death. മരണത്തിൻ്റെ സമയത്ത് ഒത്തിരി പെയിൻ അവർ അനുഭവിക്കാറുണ്ട്. And again, people are not ready to die also. But in the case of grandmother has done all her work. She has seen her grandson returning to India after his successful study, and there is nothing more to do. And again, she knows that after her death she is going to her creator. Therefore she was very happy, and that is why very peacefully, മരണസമയത്ത് ഉറങ്ങിക്കിടക്കുന്നത് മാതിരി, she just embraced her death. So this is the end of the grandmother. This way she passed